The PGA Tour heading to Illinois this week for the John Deere Classic, kicking off Thursday at TPC Deere Run. Now, what makes John Deere Classic? It might lack some big names, but it makes up in excitement and experience. Plenty of low scores this week. The possibility of seeing a life-changing win for a rising star. Davis Thompson was that person last year, and Sepp Straka the year before that. Both of them used those wins to catapult themselves into the conversation as top 50 players on the PGA Tour. Let's welcome in our golf expert, Patrick McDonald. Having a great day already, Patrick. I know you are. TPC Deere Run is known for its dramatic elevation changes, its scenic views. We just saw it right there, natural landscape. It's absolutely beautiful, but tell us what makes it really unique.
You're going to have to pin your ears back and grab a lot of birdies this week, Jenny. We have seen the winning score surpass 20 under. Davis Thompson reached mid-20 unders last year. And so this is one of the highest greens in regulation percentage that players are going to face all year on the PGA Tour. The average is north of 70% on the PGA Tour. Sepp Straka, en route to his win, hit nearly 85%. Davis Thompson was around 82%. So when you think about that, one, your wedges are going to have to be dialed in. You're going to have to give yourself a ton of birdie opportunities from that 100 to 150-yard bucket. And the putter is a real separator this week because, like I mentioned, if everyone's going to be hitting greens in regulation, everyone's going to be giving themselves birdie opportunities. How do you separate yourself from the pack? It's with the putter. If you look at where most strokes gained are from the four main categories at TPC Deere Run, the real separator is on the greens, and so you're going to need those wedges, you're going to need that putter, and you're going to be making a lot of birdies this week if you want to win the John Deere Classic.
You mentioned Davis Thompson there, here to defend his title, finishing 28 under last year. 28 under, 256. Thompson holding the lowest 72-hole tournament scoring record by one stroke. Do you see a scenario where he can go back-to-back here?
He's got a couple good things going in his favor. One, despite not having a great year so far in 2025, I think I mushed him at the onset saying he was my breakout player for this year, unfortunately. Thought he was going to make the Ryder Cup team. That doesn't look like it's going to happen yet. He still has some season left in front of him, including this week. He's in the Champions House too, Jenny. That's a nice little wrinkle for the John Deere Classic. These guys all rent the same house together, and the last three winners were staying in it. Davis Thompson being the defending champ. He gets the master bedroom. He gets the California King. He gets the nice bathroom. So he's got all that going for him. And despite the putter not really cooperating in 2025, it's still his best off the tee season of his career. It's still his best approach season of the career. So potentially coming back to TPC Deere Run, where he made a ton of putts like these last year, if he can figure out these greens once again, the rest of his game is in really great shape. It's just that putter that has held him back so far in 2025. And you have to think, if there's ever a course where that flips, it's this week.
Well, you mentioned the success that he had last year. I love that they all stay in the same house. That's a little fun fact I didn't know about. That's so cute. Rickie Fowler, we're going to talk about next. He's 72nd in the FedEx Cup. He's on his last year of exemption. First start here at the John Deere. It seems like this is kind of an important one for him, Patrick.
Yeah, Rickie Fowler is not playing the John Deere Classic if there isn't a good reason for Rickie Fowler to play the John Deere Classic, especially with Link's golf season ahead, a guy who's won the Scottish Open before, where the PGA Tour is heading next week, a guy who is already into the Open thanks to his finish at Muirfield Village at the Memorial. But Fowler, despite not really having a great year, like you mentioned, outside the top 70 that gets into the FedEx Cup. Remember, Jenny, PGA Tour cards are down to 100 this upcoming year on the PGA Tour, so he has to remain inside the top 100 to retain his full-time status. He'll probably have to go play through the FedEx Cup fall again if he doesn't make a move over this next month or so. But the good news for Fowler is he's kind of slowly but surely piecing it together. He was in that final group alongside Ben Griffin at the Charles Schwab Challenge. Like I mentioned, played great at Memorial, played great at the Truist Championship too. There just seems to be one round every now and again throughout his tournament that really hinders his chances for better finishes. I look at the Travelers Championship, played 3 really good rounds, and then a 77 on Friday kind of undid all that hard work. If you have one of those rounds this week, you're probably going to be sent packing early. So if you can avoid that 18-hole stretch and just turn that 72 at TPC Deere Run into something like 4 under, he'll have a good chance to move up the FedEx FedEx Cup rankings and hopefully move up this leaderboard as the tournament progresses.
Definitely going to need that. A player that I know you're going to be speaking with later today, Ben Griffin, returning to TPC Deere Run, looking to improve on his tied for 5th finish in last year's tournament. Patrick, he's ranked as the highest ranked golfer in this field. What do you like about his chances? What are you going to be chatting with him about later?
Gotta like everything about this guy's chances. We were talking about yesterday, we're like, who's the 5th best golfer in the world right now? Which is like such a weird golf person conversation to have. But you have Bryson, you have John Rahm, you have Scotty Scheffler, you have Rory McIlroy. But after that, it's like, who's number 5? We had no idea. We settled on Ben Griffin. I mean, this guy is riding a heater of all heaters. It seems like he hasn't finished outside the top 15. And there you go. Since before the PGA Championship, you had the Chuck Schwab win, of course, taking Scotty Scheffler to the finish line at Jack's place. And he actually was asked about, Jack Nicklaus mentioned that Ben Griffin and the rest of those competitors there at Muirfield Village weren't in the class of Scotty Scheffler. And Griffin was asked about this, and he said, I'm not in the class yet. This guy has so much confidence in his game at the moment. He's doing everything well. He easily could have taken this week off, but he realized, hey, I'm playing great golf right now. This is an opportunity to notch my 3rd win of the season, move up those Ryder Cup rankings. He's number 8 right now, top 6 qualify, secure yourself inside the top 5 of the FedEx Cup points ahead of the playoffs. So I love everything about his game. He's played well here in the past, finished top 5 in his lone finish, and I would be shocked if he's not in the mix come this weekend.
Do you have some hard-hitting questions for him later?
The hardest. The absolute hardest.
All right. I can't wait to see that interview. I appreciate it. Patrick McDonald getting us ready for the John Deere Classic. Of course, you can catch all the action this weekend on CBS. You can find it on CBS and streaming on Paramount Plus. Starts Saturday and Sunday at 3 p.m. Eastern. As we prepare for the John Deere Classic, we have Ben Griffin, the 16-1 favorite. Griffin, 2-time PGA Tour winner this season, recording victories at the Zurich Classic, the Charles Schwab Challenge. Jason Day, who finished tied for 4th in his last start of the Travelers Championship, 2nd on the odds boards right there. Now, for a betting angle, it is time to welcome in Sia Nejad. Joining us now on HQ. This is one of my favorite segments every week, and I like that we just get right to it. There's no beating around the bush. Your pick to win the John Deere Classic. Who do you have?
Jenny, thank you for saying that. I do appreciate it. And I do want to say I heard Patrick McDonald just a few minutes ago say he liked Ben Griffin. I also like Ben Griffin, but I'm looking for longer odds at this tournament, which I think lends itself to a longer odds champion, it being such an easy course and a birdie fest. Got to get it going with the putter. One guy who got it going with the putter last week, and doesn't always, but got it going last week was Michael Thorbjornsen. That's who I'm taking here at FanDuel at plus 3,300. This is a kid who was out for 4 or 5 weeks, 4 or 5 tournaments, because of a wrist injury, but I was hesitant to take him last week at the Rocket Classic because I just didn't know what form he would be in. He handled himself so incredibly well, finishing T4 there. He was awesome ball striking. He was even better with the putter. He's long off the tee. He's a heavy hitter, and you don't necessarily need that here, but we saw a lot of heavy hitters succeed last year, including Michael Thorbjornsen, who was T2 here last year, gained almost 10 strokes ball striking in that tournament. So I think when it comes to the JDC, Michael Thorbjornsen very comfortable here, coming in with good play, and I think is kind of a rising star, a guy that maybe a year from now we're going to start seeing, especially in tournaments like this, we're going to start seeing Ben Griffin type numbers on him at like plus 1,600, plus 2,000. I don't know that we're getting a deal at plus 3,300, but I do think Michael Thorbjornsen can win, and because I'm looking for slightly longer odds than a Ben Griffin, I'll take the 33-1.
I think we all appreciate that. How about some DFS goodbyes? Who do you like?
All right, a couple of guys that I also might have on my outright card on the early wedge tonight during our Best Bets show. I'm going to start with Bud Cauley. Bud Cauley has been a mixed bag over the last month or two, but we've seen his upside. We saw it as soon as April, where he went back-to-back tournaments, T4, T5, T6. Typically, Bud Cauley, especially since coming off the injury from some time ago, a great ball striker. And that is what you need here. That is certainly a requirement here, or at least a partial requirement here. Bud Cauley, also a guy that can get it going with the putter. So because he's kind of been a mixed bag lately and hasn't been the Bud Cauley that people were playing like 2 months ago, I don't think he's going to get a lot of ownership. And I think he's a guy that can absolutely win this tournament. Oh, by the way, at 40-1, like him in DFS. The other guy is Kevin Roy, another name that's not a household name, but he has been absolutely smashing it with the ball striking. Last week, He almost gained 8 strokes on approach. That's got to be top 3 in the field. I'm going to have to go back and double check that. But he's been really doing this with the ball striking for quite some time. Really like Kevin Roy's upside. He's 70-1 to win this tournament. I think he has top 10 upside here.
Okay, this is always a fun part of this. The best bet this time, obviously, for the John Deere Classic. Our guy Cam Young not in the field, but making some money. Last week, I know we always have a little side bet going on. What do you like this week?
Yeah, last week we had Tristan Lawrence T20. That was my best bet at plus 380. He almost went out and won the thing. So he's another guy I'm considering on my outright card. And honestly, I needed to make up for the Cam Young thing. And also the DFS plays I gave out last week were a little shaky. So I was really happy to cash the plus 380. Well, now in a slightly lesser field with a slightly bigger name, Tristan Lawrence in the top 20 market is plus 250. That, of course, includes ties. I'm going right back to it because this guy's name isn't quite there yet. And what that means is his odds are longer than they should be. Like I said last week, this guy found something on approach and with the putter, both on the Euro Tour and the PGA Tour. And the sample size wasn't big enough for people to recognize it, but I gave it out last week anyway, and I'm just going to go right back to it. It's not plus 380, it's plus 250, but I still think this is a valuable number. Tristan Lawrence, top 20, including ties. And again, Jenny, the theme here is international. I usually go top in region, but because I'm going back to the South African, I'm keeping the international theme alive. Give me Tristan Lawrence.
You know, you stick with the guys that you care about, and there's something to be said about that. Sia Nejad joining us here on HQ trying to make us some money. We'll see you next week. We'll see what you're going to be doing next week with that one. You got to check out the early wedge for more on the John Deere Classic. We got Sia Nejad, Jason Sobel, Patrick McDonald taking an early look at the 2025 John Deere. Check it out today.